This video is sponsored by Sakurico. So we saw Tokoyami and Dark Shadow essentially coming to their full potential against All for One, where the chapter ended with them just completely leveling him with an abyssal black body, Light of Balder, in an amazing panel. Like, this is probably the biggest strike All for One has taken since his fight with All Might. And coming into this one, we're seeing Toga finally using Twice's ability to clone the other most powerful members of the league, like All for One, Shigaraki, and Dabi. This is something that we had been speculating about for like the last couple months now, I guess, because of all of the possibilities that we knew that were coming into this arc when it was foreshadowed that Toga was going to do this. When it was revealed that she was supplied a small vial of Twice's blood from Dabi, and now we're in like the full midst of it, and we're seeing that immediately the Shigaraki clone is trying to activate DK, but he is unable to. And going further into this chapter, it will be explained why this Shigaraki clone is unable to use his quirk, and it's kind of unnecessary in my opinion, the reasoning as to why this doesn't work. I mean, of course it makes sense via quirkery logic and everything that's going on here, but to be honest, it just shouldn't work because it's just stretching her original quirk just so far that it would just be unfair almost if it did work, because first of all, her quirk is just, you know, becoming someone, and then if she loves them enough, then she can use their quirk. So since she loved Twice enough, she's able to use Twice's quirk. So now we're going into that quirk, and then on top of that, she's doing the Sad Man's Parade, which Twice didn't really start doing until the My Villain Academia. So like, it wasn't even like he could do this at first, and of course it was because of his mental block. And then aside from that, she's also now duplicating One for All and Shigaraki and Dabi. So I think it's just understandable from that perspective that they shouldn't be able to use their quirks, because if they did, it would be over, right? You have multiple Shigarakis, multiple All for Ones, it's over. But the way that it's explained in the chapter is because, I don't know, she doesn't love the other League villains the way that she loved Twice. I mean, when we get this inner consciousness of Toga, she says, even though I love Tomura and Toya, interesting she's calling Dabi Toya. I think this is the first time she's referred to him as that, possibly. Their quirks won't come out like Jin's, Twice's, or Ochako's. Jin could have used their quirks. So I guess, yeah, it just ultimately comes down to she didn't love them as much as she loved Ochako or Twice. But all of that is like broken down between Tsuyu and Ochako in the beginning of the chapter, and I don't know, it just, in my opinion, just seems like a waste of their time. But then we get this huge black double spread of like Toga's cluttered thoughts, but then it suddenly comes through and we see another double spread of Ochako and Dark Shadow like fighting off the Twice army. And I don't know, this could be symbolic for Ochako waking Toga up, possibly something like that, because she says, you know, I love seeing people happy and I can't ignore her tears, and that's like been the whole big storyline between them. Ochako wants to save Toga, but Toga either doesn't want to be saved or wants Ochako romantically or in her own psychotic way of how she describes her love as like becoming someone because of how conflicted she is with her quirk. There's a lot going on here, but it's probably going to ultimately come down to Ochako saving Toga. I think that's likely going to happen. I don't know if she's going to survive, but first let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Sakurico. Sakurico is a monthly authentic Japanese snack subscription box. Sakurico is also supporting local Japanese snack makers, because each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese tea and a special Japanese tableware. The tableware this month is a kanji side dish. I really like this one. It also comes with this awesome booklet that gives you information on all of the snacks in the box, as well as information about Japan and its culture. This month's box is Taste of Japan. Did you know that Japan has 47 prefectures with its unique food culture and history? This month, Sakurico invites you on a journey to sample all of what Japan has to offer. The box is packed with authentic and regional treats. They're unique to each region and full of local flavor. Take a bite of the Kuromitsu Kanako Mochi from Hokkaido, or indulge in the rich and buttery caramel nut sable from Okinawa. So we always get awesome tea from Sakurico, and this month it's Gion Sujiri Sencha from Kyoto. And this is just delightful. You're really not going to be able to find anything like this in the States, I don't think. And I tried it with with the matcha round boro. This thing is so satisfying. It has a really nice texture and the matcha flavor is so good. I also tried these mayonnaise arare. This is such a great snack with a really interesting flavor. And lastly, I tried the Hitoake Cafe cream cake. This was probably my favorite in the box. This is just everything I'm looking for in a pastry. And the cream inside tastes so good. So guys, if you're interested in getting your very own Sakurico box, please check out the link in the description and make sure you use code Zhoniin. That way you're going to get $5 off your first box. Thanks guys. But anyway, we're cutting back to the All for One battle, picking up from the end of the previous chapter with Dark Shadow, Hawks, the Shiketsu students, and Jiro all working together to take him down. And they're also reminding us that he's on a quote-unquote timer. This is referring to the reverse engineered rewind quirk that Yujiko was able to synthesize from the quirk destroying bullets that Shigaraki stole from Overhaul. And he's been rewinding himself back to, I guess, nothingness, because he doesn't have like a stopping mechanism on it. Like once you activate this black market rewind, that's it. And it doesn't really matter for him because his ultimate goal is just to have his original quirk factor that's within him to be merged with Shigaraki. So he needs to get to UA before he completely rewinds himself, and that's where we come to everyone here working together to try to stop him from doing that. But it's also being reminded to the audience for another reason, which is going to be revealed here, because All for One was able to stop that massive strike from Dark Shadow in the previous chapter, but it seems like it took its toll on him, because when the smoke clears, he's younger, like a lot younger. He could be college age here, possibly teenaged, but he's definitely not as old as he was perceived to be before. And yes, like I said before, we were reminded that he is on a quote-unquote timer through the rewind, and it is taking its toll on him, and I wonder how far this is going to go. Like, I do think it will end with him getting the quirk factor to Shigaraki, because it kind of has to happen at this point, but I wonder like what All for One is going to be like by the time he gets to Shigaraki. Like, is he just going to be like a baby, like flying around with his electricity and everything? But as he's going head to head with Inasa here, the narrator takes over and he's like, two men notice something. The situation was now the best it could be. And then we see Gigantomachia in the distance. And All for One is like, finish the Machia. And, you know, if you're just reading this sequentially, you're like, oh no, it's really over now. But no, just immediately in the following panel, we see that Hawks is communicating with Suguchi, basically confirming that like this is good for the heroes and not the other way around. Because Gigantomachia throws like, I don't even know what he's throwing at him here. It's like a large piece of the ground that has trees on it. He's throwing this huge landmass at All for One. And then on the final page, we see Kirishima and Shinso. And they're like, we won't let him reach Midoriya and the others. So this is a huge twist. And also implying that so much has happened off panel, because the last time that we saw this general group, they were like defending the bunker that was holding Gigantomachia. So I guess this means that they wound up successfully defeating all the villains that were going after Gigantomachia, and then Shinso successfully was able to activate Gigantomachia and take him over with his quirk. Now, how he was able to do this, I don't think it's revealed in the chapter, right? But somehow the spoilers leaker people knew that he was copying the voice recording that All for One supplied to Aoyama and his parents. So he copied that, and then Gigantomachia like responded to him using his persona chords, and then he fell victim to Shinso's quirk, so he became like his subservient zombie. So now they just have Gigantomachia on their side going against All for One, which is incredible. But I assume that after this we're going to go into a flashback, right? Because we have to see what happened. Not so much for Shinso, I mean that's going to be explained because it kind of has to, but more so for Kirishima here and Ashido, who isn't here, or at least we haven't seen her. I'm not saying that Ashido died because that just seems unlikely at this point. It is a possibility. But defeating Gigantomachia was supposed to be like Kirishima and Ashido's like big character arcs. So expect to see that very soon, I guess. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments, guys. And if you liked it, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.